Welcome to English Reading for Learning.
Small talk. We have visitors this morning, Ms. Myers told Room 5. A journalist and a photographer from the newspaper are doing an article about our new school library, and some of you will be in the photo. The kids in Room 5 started saying, "I'm the most beautiful," and doing their hair, or hiding under their tables, except for Brad. He knew he wouldn't be in the photo. Brad was small. Kids were always making jokes about how short he was. "What's the weather like down there?" they'd say. Or, "Stand up, Brad," when he was already standing. "You'll grow, son," his dad had told him. "I was small till I was a teenager. Granddad was too." But sometimes Brad wondered how many thousands of years he'd have to wait until he was a teenager. "They won't put Brad in the photo. You'd need a magnifying glass to see him." The other kids laughed, except Brad's friend Ty and Gabby, who sat at the next table. Brad grinned, even though Charlotte's comment stung. He usually grinned when people made jokes like that. He figured they didn't mean to hurt his feelings. Ms. Myers came back in the room. "You'll have time to ask our visitors some questions," she said. "Start thinking." The newspaper people arrived half an hour later. The journalist said, "Call me Tegan." She had spiky hair and a nose stud. The photographer was a short, fit-looking guy called Rick. He carried a camera with a huge lens. Tegan talked to the class about how a journalist had to write clear sentences and paragraphs, how she always put the most important facts at the start of her stories, and how she quoted the words of people she interviewed. Then Rick told them about some tricky photos he'd taken. Once he had to hang on a rope from a cliff to take shots of a climber. "I could be a photographer," thought Brad. "I'm not scared of heights. I wouldn't weigh much on a rope either." "Any questions you want to ask our visitors?" said Ms. Myers. Ty wanted to know the most amazing person that Tegan had interviewed. A lady who started learning to use a computer when she was 100 years old, Tegan told him. Brad put his hand up. "Rick, what things don't you like to photograph?" Gabby whispered, "I was going to ask that." "Animals are tricky," Rick said. "Once I had to photograph a mother duck that was looking after a kitten. She thought I was trying to attack the kitten, so she started whacking me with her wings, picking on a little guy like me." Room 5 laughed again, and Brad grinned too. It's okay when you make jokes about yourself, he thought. It was jokes from other people that could hurt. "Time to take photos," Tegan said. "Have you decided who you want, Rick?" "Yeah," Rick said. "I'll have these 3 ladies." He pointed to Brooke, Rita, and Gabby. "And these 3 gents." He pointed to Ty, Eddie, and Brad. Brad could hardly believe it. Gabby gave him a smile. Before he could think, Brad sent her a huge smile back. "All right if the rest of us come and cheer?" Ms. Myers asked. "Sure thing," said Rick. "We'll take a photo of the whole class in front of the library, too, and send it to you later in the week." Room 5 all went, "Cool." In the hall, Tegan talked to the class and took notes while Rick set up the 6 kids he'd chosen. He put them in front of the new library's big painting of stars and planets and books. "It's big, eh?" he said. "We'll get you guys to kneel in front of it so it looks even bigger." "Is that why you picked Brad?" called one of the Room 5 kids. "So it looks really big?" Some people laughed. Brad started to grin, as he usually did. But Rick shook his head. "No way," he said. "I picked him because he's got a smile 2 miles long." He looked at Brad and said, "Plus, this guy is big inside, where it matters. Right, mate?" This time, Brad spoke before he could think. "Inside, I'm 3 miles long." Room 5 laughed again. But Brad knew that they were laughing with him, not at him. Gabby gave him another smile, and for the second time, Brad gave her one back. By the feel of it, Brad knew that smile must have been 4 miles long.
Thanks for watching and listening. Please click like and subscribe for new and latest uploads.